Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I really hope you had a Merry Christmas. We're in that weird period between Christmas and New Year's, and you're going to start seeing a lot of best lists. And I honestly didn't think I'd see anything quite as absurd, but they just never stop surprising you, do they? So let's go ahead, and I figured we'd just do a quick run through of the list itself because, well, the number one is awfully ridiculous. The rest of the list is really up and down. It's an interesting list for sure. And the article starts with a rundown of what's happened during the year. Apparently they felt it was a quiet year for gaming. I felt it was quite loud, but we're obviously looking at it from different ends of the spectrum. And I'm sorry if I sound a little funny, but I managed to do something to my lower lip. So I'm trying to talk normally. If it sounds a little odd occasionally, I apologize. So here we are for the Times favorite games of the year. They have Helldivers too. Nothing really controversial about that. It was, when it came out, a very huge deal. People loved it, minus the whole issues behind it with the PSN network issues, which still persist to this day. They have not fixed the fact that there are a lot of people out there who have bought the game and are entirely unable to play it thanks to the PSN requirement and then pulling it back and not ever really doing anything in regards to that, which in my opinion is the worst thing about the whole thing. Apparently their number 9 is Lego Horizon Adventures, which I do not understand. I knew the game was coming out, but it did not, from what I could tell, do particularly well in any way, shape, or form. No one wanted this Lego game. When I heard about it during the Summer Game Fest, my first thought was, what the fuck? Why does anybody want this? Granted, I've never been a Lego game person to begin with, but Lego and Horizon Zero Dawn don't exactly go together well. Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely an adult title. Lego can be for adults, obviously. There are many people who love it and love the way they handle the properties. But at the same time, it does not have the cross-generational pull that Lego Star Wars, Lego Batman, Lego Lord of the Rings did. It just doesn't. And what I do find fascinating is they in no way mention that it is not doing well. They don't mention anything about how well it's sold or not. And then, of course, their number 8 is Star Wars Outlaws. And once again, you have to wonder, what games are these people playing? I don't think these people are even playing games. I almost feel like this was slots purchased by the highest bidder. How much you were willing to pay is how you got wherever you ended up on the list. And apparently Ubisoft could only spend enough money for number 8, which, considering the year they've had, I read another article about that recently, and they have had a terrible year. Isn't surprising because they're not making any money. They don't have any form of live service that's giving them backup money. Unlike other AAA studios, they just don't have anything going for them. And unless they somehow, by the grace of God or Cthulhu or some other being, manage to pull it out of their ass with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which to be clear, I don't think they will, they're screwed. I don't think they have it in them to really put out anything that people really love anymore. 7 is Black Myth Wukong, which doesn't surprise me. A lot of people really enjoyed it. I have not played it yet, but they do say that it has the best art design of the year. They mention how some gamers have cited a lack of familiarity with the novel, keeping them from understanding the narrative, which is funny because if you ever watch Dragon Ball Z, it's basically the same thing, or at least that's what I'm told. And that the combat is just too challenging, which it's a bunch of journos, so what do you expect there? Apparently, the writer of this article doesn't like putting hours into defeating the same boss, but not everybody does. It's better to just admit that that's not your thing than it is to try to blame the game for it. Alan Wake 2, Night Springs, and Lake House, both of which, if I recall, are expansions as opposed to actual games. So I wonder if there was just no one else willing to pay them to put them on the list at this spot, or if Remedy Studio was really willing to spend so much on number 6 that it got them here on the list. And number 5 is Neva, which I have seen videos for again at the Summer Games Fest. I didn't see anything else about it though. Absolutely nothing anywhere. So is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I will say the art style I found very intriguing and pretty, but overall I don't know. Silent Hill 2, obviously the remake, has made it to number 4 on their list. And, you know, up and down on that one. I've heard mixed reviews, people who say it's really good and people who say it's just a copy, a bad copy at that. And realistically, I haven't played the original one. I haven't played this one. And I'm not into remakes. I'm tired of remakes. Though I might play this one just because getting your hands on a copy of Silent Hill 2 at this point is really difficult. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is right up there with my remake issues, my remaster issues, especially since they completely switched out the plotline, and I am a purist. This does not work for me. I know a lot of people really love it, though. That one's a big whatever. Astro Bot's on number 2, which, considering it basically bought the Game Awards, is anybody surprised that it's number 2? Actually, I would have expected it to be number 1 because Sony certainly seems to be willing to spend as much money as they possibly can on Astro Bot, getting it all the awards. But maybe there's something to the awards at the same time. I don't know. Haven't played it again because I just don't spend a lot of time on my consoles. I really should spend more time on my consoles, but I don't. But, you know, the people I know that played it really enjoyed it, thought it was a fantastic game. Most people have a problem with it winning what it has so far, just because it seems too childish to them. And then number one is Dragon Age the Veilguard. Because God knows this game has done so spectacularly well and has had so many high reviews that it obviously deserves the number 1 spot. Now, we are actually going to read this one just because I personally find it astounding that you would put this at number 1. So I want to see what they're saying that would make them think that this is a number 1 slot game. Between Elder Scrolls and Baldur's Gate 3, there's no shortage of great high fantasy RPGs to play. It has been a decade since Dragon Age Inquisition, and despite an incredible run for BioWare, their last decade was marred by the cancelled game Shadow Realms, the disappointing Mass Effect Andromeda, and a disastrous foray into MMOs with Anthem. There is reason to wonder if BioWare still had the sauce to return to Dragon Age. Boy, did they ever! Dragon Age the Veilguard comes out swinging, and BioWare clearly had something to prove. Wow, did they not? I wonder when they wrote this. You know, I'm not sure if they've written this recently. I kind of feel like I'm going to have to scroll it. Hold on, let's look at the top. Okay, so this is from December 5th of this month. But still, wow. Oh, God. First off, hats off to what has to be the most advanced character creation system ever brought to video games. What? You can't even give your character a proper figure, and they want to tell me that it is the most advanced character creation system ever brought to a video game? Whoa. Has this person ever played a game with a character creator before? It's possible to spend hours just fine-tuning the look of your character as everything from bone structure to tissue placement is considered from every angle, except for if you want to have more than an A cup, or if you want to fill out your jeans. Apparently that tissue doesn't count. The character creator is also fully inclusive. Okay, not only in terms of race, but also, what do you mean not only in terms of race? When it comes to, what do they mean not only in terms of race? You could always make yourself a human of any color in these games. You've been able to make yourself a human of any color for as long as you wanted to. So are they saying inclusive of the races in the game? Or do they literally just mean human races? Because that seems entirely unnecessary and absolutely ridiculous. What the hell? But also gender and its inclusion of non-binary pronouns and flexibility with characteristics like hairstyles. What? How does the hairstyles make you more inclusive? Before the game even begins, there's an effort to make the Veilguard feel personal and truly put the gamer behind the character, except for the fact that if you've been playing the game through the last 3 iterations, none of your choices previously count. Thus, you're not really behind the character, nor do you feel like the world is personalized to you. But again, despite the point, that's beside everything. Anyway. Narratively, the game takes place a decade after the events of Inquisition and immediately follows up on the post-credits scene of that game, which sees former companion Solus revealed as the elven god of betrayal, attempt to tear down the veil, a magical barrier that separates mortals from the demon realm. The action begins quickly, and players familiar with the franchise will quickly find themselves impressed by the combat and traversal features. What? How? players familiar with the franchise will find them completely alien because they have nothing in common with previous games, which are best seen in the Dragon Age games. What? I feel like this person, well, I mean, let's face it. We know this person actually hasn't played any other video games. This is someone who got a bunch of talking points on games after the games purchased their slot on the list and just put it in. That's it. I don't think this person has ever played a game in their life. The same goes for the impressive details that create a sense of awe and feel visually distinct in an era where gamers have their pick of visually impressive fantasy games. But this is BioWare, of course, and the real treat is the journey, which is nothing without the bonds formed with your companions. Okay. Of the 6 available companions, each offer a unique skill set and personality, and unlike previous games in the series, going for the seemingly agreeable response in the dialogue trees won't always grant the players the response they wish. What? There's greater attention to character traits here, which makes the connections all the more exciting, because it isn't simply a game of playing nice... Wow. Additionally, the portals are a welcome travel feature, as is the ability to access companions' special power sets from an open menu. What? While some may miss the more politically charged narrative of its predecessor, the Veilguard feels like a refreshing addition to the series that's still heavy on lore, but doesn't feel too dense to distract from the pleasure of killing demons. If there's a single word to describe Dragon Age the Veilguard that signifies its place as Time's Game of the Year, it would be fulfilling. Okay, I'm not sure this person's sane. That's all I've got to say in regards to that. This seems a little bit crazy to me. I have to accept the fact that in reality, there are people who will genuinely feel this way about these things. However, as those of us who are Dragon Age fans know, there are a number of statements in here that make absolutely zero sense. Because just doing the agreeable thing through the previous games wouldn't always get you the desired effect. Especially not if you had a group that had various personalities, because what one person agreed to, the others might not. So I'm not sure what this person thinks they're onto here. And again, we're back to the whole, I genuinely feel like whoever wrote this was just given the script to put in it and did so after being paid by the studios. It is insane, because in no way does Veilguard deserve a number 1 spot on any list except for someone who is making a list of their own personal favorites. Because I'm not going to say that someone can't think it's the best game ever. That is a personal thing. That is a subjective thing. If you really love it that much, you go out there and you love this game. That is all on you, honey. You go right ahead for it, and I ain't going to stop you. I'm not even going to tell you you can't. Now, if you ask me if I love it, I'm going to tell you you're crazy. It's a separate issue. But it is Time Magazine, so I can't say they're in any way, shape, or form any kind of authority on gaming. It's just their take here is so crazy that I really felt a need to go ahead and do this video, just because none of this makes any sense. And realistically, I don't have a lot more to say to it but that. You know what? Let's go ahead and clear this mess from our mind by looking at some puppies. And here you have puppies fighting, puppies playing, puppies just genuinely enjoying life. I was trying to, you see Betty there was actually dragging that silver bowl around, and it was hilarious. That's actually Sydney's food bowl. So she was dragging it around trying to, I don't know, I guess she was still hungry maybe, because her and the other girls ate not only Sydney's food, but they ate their mother's food as well, as on top of, continuing to try to nurse, because they are just that ravenous at this point. But watching her play with Sydney is just so cute. And she actually plays with his choker there. He's such a hard-headed little dog. And then, of course, here comes Mom while one of the little girls chews on something else. Then they start attacking Mom while Sydney continues playing with them. And yeah, this was funny. So here in a second, you will see Carolyn there. Look at her. Look at how bad she's biting Grace. She is really tugging on her mama there. Really getting into it. Beating each other up. They are evil, evil little creatures. Adorable, but evil. Not enough to be said about how evil they are. I mentioned what I did about Carolyn pulling on Grace's tail. I wanted to show you how, I mean, she was really going at it. Really just yanking on her poor mom's tail. And her mom's just sitting there like, what the hell? I'm tired. Just pulling with all her little might, but the floor's too slick for her to really get a good grip. And Grace is scratching her head as always. Someday that dog's going to dig her brain out, I swear. And I've done everything I can about her allergies, so it's just crazy. But all that said, guys, thank you guys for being here. I hope, like I said, you had a Merry Christmas. Let me know your thoughts on this list. Do you think this is just a purchased advertising list? Because I feel like this is how much money someone was willing to spend to get them to a specific slot on the list. That's really what I think about it. But I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.